How are my fellow undomesticated women doing today? Welcome back. We were on a brief break and we are back for the new season of change. This is Tony from Freedom at the Crossroads, helping women everywhere look better, feel better without the pressure of OPE, other people's expectations. Let's roll, my fellow undomesticated women, because this is the Undomesticated podcast series here at Freedom at the Crossroads. Be sure to subscribe, hit your notification button so you know when our latest episodes roll in, and let's get things rolling. So, my question to you today is, has anyone noticed, is it just me, or has anyone else noticed the, preponderance of, I don't know if that's even appropriate to say that word in this context, but have you all noticed how there seems to be a housewives of this, housewives of that, bachelorette this, it's just ridiculous. And I say it's ridiculous because it seems to all have the same theme. Women competing against each other, women comparing themselves against each other, women tearing themselves down for the ultimate price of an indecisive man, child, who seems incapable of making a decision until he's weeded out every last, possibility down to like 2 or 3 people. And even to that, can't get it straight. That I'm talking about is The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, kind of the same thing, but not as toxic and destructive in my opinion. Now let's hustle over to like the Real Housewives of, Orange County or Atlanta, and the same theme. Women comparing themselves against each other, women claiming to be friends but backstabby, just like Chucky's bride, very stabby. Well, I think that says something about our society and how much growth we have yet to achieve as a society and as a culture. Because we all know the problems that we're dealing with as women in terms of, feeling like you're not enough, constantly being bombarded with images of perceived perfection and what a woman should look like, how a woman should behave, and what roles she should play in order to be seen as the perfect woman, in order to be seen as someone who has worth and value. And I see a real problem in that. And the only reason I'm ranting about it now is that we're going into a new season, so, the TV stations have all been bombarding us with all these clips of upcoming shows that we may or may not have tuned into last season and things of that nature. And not that I am an avid TV watcher. For one thing, I don't have the time to really watch TV. But there was a time when I was mesmerized by the shenanigans on shows like The Bachelorette. And it was because it was like watching a, morbid curiosity and watching a train wreck. And the sad thing about that is that it draws you into its toxicity and it actually poisons you. And once I realized that and recognized what I was allowing myself to ingest, mentally and spiritually and emotionally, I started to cut away from that because I recognized that there is nothing good that comes from watching. And in that sense, passively participating in the destruction of other women, their mindset, their sense of self, and things of that nature. Now, granted, this is quote unquote supposed to be a reality TV show, but we all know, I think we're all jaded enough to recognize that this stuff is all set up in the background, and people are manipulated into certain behaviors, and certain wounds are blatantly exposed in order to create certain situations and certain outcomes on these shows. And I just wanted to get that out there, and almost like a warning, because when you're on a journey of self-empowerment, self-development, and self-help, and you're really trying to get healthy and in alignment with who you are always meant to be on all levels, be that mentally, spiritually, physically, mind, body, spirit, you begin to recognize that there's certain things you should not be internalizing. Just like, like there's certain foods that you should avoid. If you want to be healthy, if you want to have a, healthy body, you want to be fit, you want to be energized, you want to stave off illness, reduce the effects of illness and things of that nature, that, I don't need to be eating processed foods. I need to avoid foods that are high in fat. I need to avoid foods that are high in salt and sodium and other unhealthy additives. I need to eat raw food taking a lot of plant-based foods and things of that nature. The same goes for what you internalize, what you ingest mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. When you watch these shows, and this is something that I found, and this is something that, at least for me, has been true. I noticed for myself, I believe that as children, we're very open spiritually and emotionally, because we're in a process of development and things of that nature. So we don't have a lot of the protections that we put in place and that we've built up as we've become adults. Now, having said that, I recognize as a child, I was not one of those people that could watch a lot of like horror shows or very, quote unquote, evil kind of movies and things of that nature, because I found that when I went to sleep, that stuff came up and caused nightmares and things of that nature. And even as a teen and as a young adult, same thing. And I realized that, hey, I need to listen to my mind. I need to listen to my spirit telling me that these are things that are not good for me. These are things that do not serve my higher purpose. Now, granted, there's some people that love, slash and gore movies. But, to me, that says something about what's going on spiritually and some other issues, along the line, because that level of violence and objectification of life, human life, animal life, is problematic. Now, moving away from that, when I come back to a discussion of, these shows that amplify and perpetuate images of women fighting one another, women stabbing each other in the back, metaphorically, women sabotaging one another, that is destructive, and it perpetuates a myth, because it's a lie that says that the only way that women can as a whole win is to be disingenuous, to be disloyal, to be hateful, to be fearful, and to constantly be in a mode of competing against each other and stabbing each other in the back and just being evil. I don't have another word to describe that kind of behavior. I know it's in somewhat simplistic, but the reality of it is that that kind of behavior does nothing to uplift, it does nothing to elevate, and it does nothing to help you grow and advance as a human being. And so that's why I'm ranting about, these types of shows now, because we're going into a season and I want us to adopt that growth mindset so that we can elevate ourselves and elevate one another. One thing I remember a colleague of mine, a beloved colleague of mine, used to say, she was a lady from Jamaica. She used to say, you got to stay in your lane. Tonya, you got to stay in your lane. And that is truth. And the more I reflect on that statement, the more I realize and connect with it's true. When you stay in your lane, when you focus on yourself, your own personal development, and the things that really align with you, you don't have time to even consider competition, in quotes, with another woman. You begin to realize that your journey is separate from hers. Your purpose is separate from hers. You are unique. You are perfectly imperfect in your own space. There's no need for competition. There's no need for feeling like you are less than. And that is something that has been perpetuated by power structures in our various societies, largely patriarchal, as a mode of control and manipulation of human and of female energy and female spaces in order to maintain a certain power structure and a status quo. And we're going to talk more about this in our upcoming episodes, especially as we continue on in our season of learning, as we get ready for a new year that's going to be packed with power and real movement and shifting, not just culturally and socially, but politically and emotionally and spiritually on so many different levels. Things are about to blow up. Some good, some bad, and I think it's important that we as women are ready, that our goddesses are awakened, that our undomesticated women are rising to the forefront, and we are awake. This is Tonya from Freedom at the Crossroads, helping women everywhere look better, feel better, without the pressure. Rise, sister, rise up into who you are always meant to be. Stop competing, community over competition. Till next time, we've got some upcoming guests slated. I'll tell you more about it in our next episode. Peace, ladies. Till next time.